views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Wow, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so great to have all of you tuning us in, turning us on, and it's so cool. So cool today. You know, I am so thrilled about what I get to do on a regular basis and certainly connecting with all of you. I'm Dr. Pat. I'm joined here by my main man, Mr. Benny. Hello, B.
What up?
Yep, we are here pushing all the buttons so that we can maybe play something, you'll hear something that will help you change your life for good. And so today, Energy Works Radio with Ataana joining me here today, activating self-healing and awakening your potential. We are going to do this throughout the hour. He and I are together. How can you work with the soul-satisfying prosperity mantra? Wait till you hear what this is, everyone. Ataana is joining me here today. We're going to be playing something quite amazing for you. And for those of you that want to find out more about who Ataana is, we're going to give you lots of information. You can go to ataanamethod.com. And by the way, if you want to find out more about what you hear today, Ataana is going to provide you with how you can get your own copy of this amazing mantra, what this is about. Now, for Ataana, early on, he had experiences in awakening that helped him become so aware of God's presence and oneness in all existence. And today, he works with people worldwide to help each of us see that same thing, tap into that potential. Transformation leads to transformation. And this is what he's about. He says every step towards our true self is a step towards wholeness. Ataana has designed an amazing system called the Ataana method to help us nourish, connect, and apply our unique special healing gifts in the world, as he does, and helps all of us understand that potential is not for the handful of people, but it's for each and every one of us. Today, we are talking about prosperity, soul-satisfying prosperity. Ataana, great to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, wonderful beings in the radio show and everybody who's listening right now. I'm so grateful to be here on the show right now. Thank you.
Well, I want to talk about, first we're going to talk about soul-satisfying prosperity mantra. But before we do, I want to talk with you about prosperity, soul-satisfying prosperity, because someone said to me a couple days ago, they were talking with me, and they said, you know what, we're all coming out. And I said, oh. And they said, yeah, we have been sitting on our dream. We have been holding back. We have been afraid, Ataana, to talk about prosperity. We've been afraid to talk about money because of our experiences over these past years. But we are all coming out. We would love to hear, Pat. We want to hear what the tools are. So I wanted to talk with you. There is an energy an energy of soul-satisfying prosperity and prosperity. What happens when we cut that energy off?
Well, isolation and separation, when that happens, of course, ends up in the feeling of abandonment, and then ultimately in the feeling of rejection, and it creates anger and rage because we feel that this is not a normal state in our existence or in beingness, because we remember deep inside our hearts, in our core aspects, really, that we are connected to all of existence. And in the depth of our being, we know that life in duality is a form of life's expression, but the greater reality, truly beyond and behind, is a complete field. It's like basically a holistic field. And whenever we get to this place where we're remembering it, we feel that separation, and our natural inclination towards that feeling is going back and aligning us. And most of the time, we're doing the opposite. We're doing the mole thing, where we dig ourselves deeper into the earth instead of going further into the light. What's not a bad thing, because either way, to the earth, to the groundedness, you can also get there. But there's certain ways how you can remember your full potential, and you can align yourself with it because it's a frequency, it's a vibration. And how more you are aligning yourself with a certain vibration, how more you're going to experience that reality.
Ataana, one of the things I love, and I want to make sure everybody knows that, throughout the show today, everybody knows what you've made available for people and why this is the time of our lives. And we just need a little bit of something. And I say that like that because that's the way I think most of us are walking around right now. Ataana, if I just had this little bit of this over here, or maybe that over there, or maybe this person over there, or maybe this initiative over there, or maybe this sales deal over here, right? Mm-hmm. But what are we what's going to help us get activated here so that we can fully live every day soul-satisfying prosperity?
First of all, we want to identify what is prosperity mean for us.
Yeah.
And a lot of people associate prosperity with having money or having physical riches. And a lot of our prosperity is literally our energy, our life force, because the money doesn't come from necessarily from itself. It comes out of the attraction to having it comes from an energy. So you're doing something in order to get that, or you're aligning yourself in some way or form to have that frequency alignment, and that, of course, attracts it. But then there's different forms of prosperity. There is an emotional prosperity and abundance, having enough love in your life, having enough friends in your life, having enough time and space in your life to do whatever it is that you want to do. That is luxury nowadays. Having less stress can be a prosperity, can be abundance, because you have more abundance of space for yourself to do what you really want to do, even if that's just laying in the bathtub,
Yeah. And one of the things, let's talk about that for a minute, because if we are walking around and we are looking at ourselves and we are feeling stressed and we are in this, place of let's call it restriction, as it was said to me the other day, right? Yes. Then we're not creating. We're not even creating the space to be creative, right? Yes. Yes. And one of the things I think you talk about, and the work that you do with the Ataana method, is to have this place where we're looking at the moment, to, as I think you say, to challenge our thoughts. Please allow me to take this moment to challenge your thoughts. Mm-hmm. Wow. And so one of the questions you ask is, how do you picture soul-satisfying prosperity? I think we're afraid to answer that.
Yeah, often, because we think it's not like the adequate picture how it should look for if everyone is watching, because we all want to have this noble idea how it should look. But, for you, it might look very simple. For your soul-satisfying prosperity might be just having enough time and space and enough money to live without that you're being pulled into the different directions. It might be even for you as different as just wanting to have your beach house and just riding at the beach and walking at the beach every day and have your cup of tea or coffee on the deck. Or it might look like you want to just collect stamps and you have a whole lot of stamps in your living room, books full of stamps, and you love to collect stamps. Whatever it is that is so satisfying for you, that's, of course, what this is geared towards too. So we all have different ideas of what we really want. For somebody might be a really good experience or of having just a beautiful meal, or just having constantly beautiful meals, or fasting. For some, it's just fasting, just having the time and space of soul-satisfying diet or nutrition. And whatever it is that really cranks your tractor, that is the soul-satisfying prosperity for you. And the mantra helps you to align and identify it, because there's really only two questions when you're being asked to do a task. The question is this soul-satisfying or is it not? And if it's not soul-satisfying, why the heck should I do it?
Yeah.
Right? And so how more people know about that they're having a choice, that they can choose between what's truly soul-satisfying compared to what's compromised. So, and just because people got used that they have to compromise because they thought that when they came to the planet that they have to compromise their energy, and they have seen it by many others and by their lineage, how they compromised and didn't really fully live their full potential. So they got into a mindset now that they cannot really fully expand into their soul-satisfying prosperity. Whatever this is, that might be your thing, your creative output, your purpose in life, whatever that might be, or your service. Right?
Yeah. This is such a fabulous, fabulous conversation, because part of this is about, and this is what I'm seeing now. This is an invitation. It's an invitation to change. It's an invitation to move beyond whatever's holding us back, whether it's our resentment, our anger, our heartbreak, all of that, to move beyond that. We're actually going to play some of the mantra. Tell us a bit about the mantra, if you would, before we do that.
Yeah, the mantra is a mantra that was given to me around the economical crisis around 2008. It was given to me in pieces, in small pieces. And then after a while, I figured out this is like a complete a mantra. And then I started to recite it. I chanted it. And every time I was chanting it, it took me out of this doing mode, this autopilot where I just was doing stuff without really thinking. And it got me to a place where it helped me redefine or define for me what is truly soul satisfying for me. Because I just thought also just do your thing and just do as much as you can of it, and then you accumulate as much as you can of that abundance that comes from it, and that should be it, and then maybe a little bit more. And what the soul satisfying prosperity mantra Omahara helps me or supports you with is it reminds you that you are supported anyway, that you have the soul-satisfying prosperity alignment, and that it's already there, and you're being cared for and supported and nurtured without that you really have to go into this autopilot exhaustion mode or this greed-related, I just want more, and there's just not a space of pause. When you do the mantra, you chant the mantra, it will bring up all that anxiousness where we feel like we constantly have to fill our empty spaces with clutter, even our minds. We have to do something, or it keeps you constantly in motion, and it helps you to reverse that. It helps you to reverse that autopilot motion where you feel you constantly have to do something, otherwise you're missing out on something.
Yeah. And at the same time, this is a way vibrationally to do some healing. Ataana, we're going to play a few minutes of this right now. Okay. So what would you invite people to do as this is playing?
As this is playing, all you really need to do is deep inhale through your nose and exhale to your mouth. And then reverse that, have the inhale to your mouth and the exhale to your nose, and then reverse that again, inhale to your nose and exhale to your mouth. Or, it's very simple, just chant it with me.
All right. Here we go, everyone.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Wow. Ataana, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, now we're just playing a few minutes of this, and I can feel this, right? I can feel this. And, for people that are listening, they may feel open, they may feel uncomfortable, they may feel a lot of things. I would love for you to talk about, what this means for us to think about what our lives could be like, and without thinking about it, experience what our lives could be like. What does the work that you do, how does this help individuals tap into that unlimited potential, prosperity, joy, happiness, abundance?
It's very simple at the root of it. We recorded this recording in a 432 hertz on a Fibonacci series. That means the Fibonacci series is a natural growth sequence, and that's the background music that you're hearing. These are all live violins. And it helps to activate and create a stairway into the greater reality as you're chanting it. So whenever you go into the chant of the Om Hare, it opens up the greater reality, and you're literally in the center of this Jacob's ladder, going up into the greater reality, and from there on, channeling that energy into this body, into this life, into this moment. And of course, when you're doing this, it can be that you feel a little bit overwhelmed because you're dealing with your unlimitedness. And whenever we are dealing with our unlimitedness, we are getting overwhelmed because we think we are limited systems. And that's why sometimes when we face a lot of bigger problems, we think we can't handle it. Of course, we can't if we don't access our greater reality, our unlimitedness. That then, of course, is much stronger in presence with whatever we have to deal or face with. So when it then comes to the chant in itself, it does bring up all the unresolved, unhealthy dysfunctional prosperity patterns that we're still holding on to from this lifetime, lineage, or past lives. So it really clears out, so to speak, the gutters, And once it brings it up to the surface, you can realize it, and you can then start to have the epiphanies and saying, why the heck am I holding on to this? Do I really need to? I can let go of it. I can attract more abundance. I can give myself permission to have more prosperity, to have a better experience in life. Because ultimately, it's as simple as giving yourself the permission to experience, to have as much abundance as you want. And theoretically, that's all we have to do. And then practically, it will translate into the experience. So whenever we do things, we agree to a certain action or something that then translates into the experience, we can see how much power our intention and how much power our acknowledgement or agreement has. But you have to consider we are having so many bodies that have to be cleared. We have the emotional body, we have the mental body, we have the spiritual body, we have the physical body, we have the astral body. Each of them, when they're even just in the slightest frequency not aligned, it's like you're trying to get a laser beam to 3 or 4 or 5 different holes, and one of these holes is not aligned. The laser beam is not going to get through. And so, first of all, it helps us align all of the bodies, and it helps to clear the bodies of the residue and the build-up that we bring with us, karmically or with our family, or from just being on this planet, just from childhood. And so it helps us to recognize where there is these interruptions, where is that stagnation, and then we can literally go and start approaching them. Theoretically, we know that we are all one, and everything is connected, and everything is one, and there's God, here is us, and all we need to do is align us with God, the divine, or the oneness, right? Everybody theoretically knows that, or with your enlightenment consciousness, but how few people really actually do it. Because if we align ourselves with the divine, with our goddess or God frequency, or with our Christ consciousness or our Buddha consciousness, what happens is like we can easily go into that same frequency of expansion, and then theoretically should have the same experience, or at least a similar experience of either walking on the water, or or the basket with the fishes, or whatever the expansion of miracles would be. But the thing is, even though we are still in that reading of it, to really believe it and know it is a whole nother story, and to live it. Because there's so many people that say, sure, I believe this and this and that, but actually having the experience gives you an understanding how much interference is still in the density of your body or your mind or your heart. And that gives you an idea that there's still work that needs to be done, or you need to remind yourself still of your full potential. Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes sense. And part of that reminder is in allowing ourselves, giving ourselves permission to step into fullness. A lot of times what happens to us, we know that we are in a place, Ataana, that we do not want to be. We know we're in a place we do not want to be. Yeah. And yet at the same time, we also know that the things of our past have not worked to help us get out of those places. Mm-hmm. It just has not worked. The ways that we thought were helping us reach a place of opening and acceptance and healing have not. And so the work that you're doing, and what we're talking about, with this particular message, this particular way for us to transform, opens up the world of unlimited possibilities by simply clearing things out, to begin with, and allowing ourselves to be open to receive. Isn't that what this is? It's really calling upon the energy of the universe, which is an energy that likes to give us things, right?
Absolutely. And you're saying something very important there. Uh-huh. Ed. Specifically for the people who think they tried everything already. I have a lot of times come across of people who have tried a whole lot, but ultimately, if it didn't work, you haven't tried the right thing yet. That's the bottom line.
Exactly.
So we are, and I'm sure that even whatever we tried before that worked to some extent was enough to bring us a step further, and not like, oh, well, I tried this, that didn't work. Well, it did work because it brought you to the next step. It brought you to the place where you are at right now. And you're listening to the next segment. It's like stepping stones in the water. You're seeing these stepping stones in the water, and you want to go across the river, and you just look, where's the next stepping stone? Now, the stepping stone that you stepped on there, it worked because you're standing on it, right? But that stepping stone is not going to levitate you over it. So you're going to just go with the next stepping stone and the next stepping stone, and maybe, who knows, maybe in the future a stepping stone might just levitate you over there. But for now, what I'm saying is, this is a tool, utilize it when you get it, and then put your whole being into it and see what the results are. Now, it will get you into the next step and gets you into the soul-satisfying prosperity, and even more so, it will help you to recognize where you limited yourself, where you agreed to that limitation. Because without you agreeing that you're limiting yourself, or without you wanting to limit yourself, you cannot be limited. There has to be a program somewhere, might be an idea that you had in the childhood about what reality about prosperity is, or in a past life, or maybe your family told you prosperity is like this, or maybe in the school they told you that, right? Yeah.
Exactly. All of those scripts, all of those blueprints of the past that we by default, like fall back on and think, wow, I know it's going to work just this time. It's time for a new way. We're going to take a short break, everyone. When we come back, we're going to open up the phone lines. We're going to talk about, what is it in our lives that we are so afraid to ask for? What is it about the idea of a prosperous state of being that is right at our fingertips? What if you could tap into that 24/7? Not just in the day-to-day of what you do, but in fulfilling your life stream. Ataana is joining me here today. When we come back, we're going to give you lots of information. Also, how you can get your own CD of this, put it into practice. And, by the way, we are opening up the phone lines for those of you that would like to connect with Ataana directly. 1-800-930-2819. We'll be right back.
Tune in to Sheer Alchemy with Leslie Fontaine on TransformationTalkRadio.com and get ready to stir up your passions, identify your blocks, and shift into an entirely new existence. Leslie Fontaine is a transformation catalyst and clairvoyant who uses her intuitive and energetic gifts to catapult listeners into living the life they were born to live. Whether it's shifting from scarcity to abundance, from emotional pain into joy, or from illness into health, Leslie will help you step into the true essence and power of all that you are with the help of the Ascended Masters and Archangels. You will not be the same. Visit TransformationTalkRadio.com for show dates and times, and LeslieFontaine.com to say yes to explosive abundance.
Naturopathic doctor, founder of the Martha's Vineyard Holistic Retreat, and author of the New York Times bestseller 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Dr. Ronnie DeLuce has helped tens of thousands of people, including celebrities and athletes, with her message of lifestyle change. Now Dr. Ronnie DeLuce wants to help you. You too can be saved. Email Dr. Ronnie DeLuce at info@RonnieDeLuceOnRadio.com and visit mtheholisticretreat.com. Dr. Ronnie DeLuce, your partner in wellness.
Do you want the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones? Travel the world? Live spontaneously? Get ready, because the Chip Justice Show is here. Hosts Dr. Pat Basile and Chip Justice can help you build meaningful success while embracing life. Living a life you love is the end game in this new, inspirational, and empowering show. Positive changes for a life you'll love. Tune in every month on TransformationTalkRadio.com and visit PositiveChangeInstitute.co for more information.
What if your body and mind were the compasses to the secrets, mysteries, and magic of life? Glenna Rice, co-host of The Questionable Parent, is inviting you to access all that is possible. Glenna is a 10-year certified veteran access consciousness facilitator who offers an amazing variety of life-changing classes and workshops. Work with Glenna from anywhere with teleclasses and workshops all over the globe. To learn more and see Glenna's current schedule of events, classes, and workshops, visit glennarice.com.
Get into it for 2016. Do you want more prosperity, clarity, energy, and balance in your life? Join Lynn Brown now through March for one of her amazing workshops, each focusing on a key part of living your best life. For more information and to register for one of these amazing workshops, visit lynnbrownevent.com. That's lynnbrownevent.com. And get into it this 2016 with Lynn Brown. Wow, everyone, what a blessing. It is so wonderful to have Ataana join us here today and to really open the door for us to step through, to literally give ourselves permission to create this amazing life. So we're going to be talking about what could it look like if you truly give yourself permission. Before we do that, before we stop and take a moment and talk about the energy and the vibration of this. Ataana, what is the best way, first of all, the best way for people to find out more about you, about your work, and also so that they can download their own version of the soul-satisfying prosperity mantra?
A very simple way is going to my website that I have up. That's the ataanamethod.com or Ataana, ATAANAMETHOD.com, ataanamethod.com. Then you go click just on the shop and go on the shop on all recordings. When you go on all recordings, then you just sort by popularity, and then you have the Omaha mantra is the first click on cover on the left side top where you can go on it. You can also go onto the website in itself, and there are several links also embedded. But in the shop, you go into all recordings, then sort by popularity, click on the Omaha Mantra, and it gets you right to iTunes. You probably can find it also on Amazon and iTunes and CD Baby. And it's really a good mantra to have. If you meditate or you don't, even if you just work with subliminals, it really helps you to get your system clear of all these limitations, of all these prosperity, soul-satisfying prosperity limitations. So it's a really powerful tool. I highly encourage you to have one. Have one running in your prosperity corner in the house. If you know Feng Shui-wise, where your prosperity corner is the far left side of your house, apartment, have an iPod there, have it running there, and see what's going to happen.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you so much. There is I was looking on your website, and you and I were talking about soul satisfying prosperity mantra. We were talking about what it is that we can do, how we go about it, how the vibration supports us in attracting what we really do want. But there's a question that you ask. You ask the question, you ask several, but one of the questions is, what does soul-satisfying prosperity in all areas of your life, look like to you? And I want to start with that, because sometimes we think we have to know all the answers and then receive the mantra. But doesn't the mantra, in effect, help us get clarity?
Oh, absolutely. That's a very good point, because a lot of us got so disconnected with truly what is the rhythm of prosperity. We get just into this do, accumulate, this greed, just make and do something all the time, because we are so out of touch with nature that we really don't know even the tides sometimes anymore. Even the cycles, are so off nowadays. It's amazing when you really look at how we aligning ourselves with the universal flow of abundance or energy in general. And the soul-satisfying prosperity mantra is literally, it realigns you with your soul satisfying prosperity levels, so that there's different layers of that. First of all, when you're working all day long, or you have to make a living and you're working really hard, the one thing that you probably forgot is how to rest. You probably don't even know that you have to have a rest. You're probably not even sleeping right. And you're probably not even eating right. So you're not even taking really good care of yourself. And that in itself is prosperity, because if you don't stay healthy, you're not going to stay wealthy, or you're not going to stay, accumulate more prosperity. So the key here is really recognize the inhale and the exhale. The inhale, for example, is to recharge ourselves. So we receive. And the exhale is letting go and releasing. And so a lot of us, like in this constant exhale mode, because we totally think we have to do all the time. And you cannot exhale and exist on the planet. So you have to start the inhale. And when you have a balanced inhale and exhale, and these mantras, these ancient mantras, for example, that's why they created them, because they reset your frequency, they reset your breathing rhythm. And this is a mantra that was given to me in 2008 by Spirit. And once I got it, I understood what it was there for and what it's going to do. It really realigned me with truly what is it that I really in this moment feel is soul satisfying, instead of me being on autopilot and just once a day think what is good for me. It gives me the alignment and the reminder that in every moment I can look for truly what is soul satisfying. I don't have to miss 23 hours because I haven't thought about what is soul satisfying. And 1 hour or 1 minute in the day, I was thinking, well, what is it that I really want to do right now? Why not doing all the time in the most loving and respectful way what is truly enriching and soul satisfying? What's in the way, really? Is it truly the money, or is it truly our comfort, or is it just us getting used to things? Or
Yes. And then, that's really part of what we're talking about, when we're thinking about this. What is it we're really looking at? What is it we really want? And, part of this is understanding fully what we bring to the table in that place. I think
we did. Yeah, let me go and try him back.
Let's go to a quick break if we could. And I'll tell you, we're just raising the vibration here so high that we are just popping it, snapping it, and making it happen. Let's take a little short break, Mr. B, and we'll be right back. Hi, everyone. We're back. Ataana's in the house, as we said before. You can go to ataanamethod.com, ATAANA AANAmethod.com. You're going to be able to find information there on soul satisfying prosperity. You're going to be able to get your own version, your own copy of the mantra, and then plug in. Why? Because each and every one of us has a longing to fulfill what some of us have known as an empty place in our hearts, an empty place in our soul. And sometimes we do that as we express in the world. So what is soul-satisfying prosperity in all areas of our lives? What does that look like? And what happens if we could truly give ourselves permission? What does that look like if we take a moment to visualize that life that we absolutely see when we're not cluttered by our fears, by our anxieties, and by settling? Ataana, thank you. You were talking with us about that visualization and how it then creates joy, happiness, abundance.
Mm-hmm. Yes. First of all, when we align ourselves with the energy of soul-satisfying prosperity, it's a very simple alignment if you really look at it. We are starting to align ourselves with truly what is soul-satisfying, not just what's prosperity, but also what is soul-satisfying for our system, what is soul-satisfying for us, right?
Yes.
So when we go into the greed-related prosperity, it's like just accumulating, and it gets us into that place where we constantly feel we have to do something. And it's like this autopilot where we feel we constantly have to do something, otherwise we are not deserving, we are not really adequate enough to have more. And a lot of the people who do this on a daily basis, they're losing a lot in their life quality. And they're losing a lot of the life experience with their loved ones, because they're just seeing their loved ones passing by and thinking that their value is based on what they're actually earning. And that's a big problem, because we are more than what the physical even appears. We are unlimited systems. So there would be not even an adequate expression of our essence. Maybe sound and music is the closest, because it's so unlimited, and that's what, when a lot of people listening to music, where it really aligns you back to your source. Now, when you align yourselves with soul satisfying prosperity, prosperity can be just this moment of taking your time, taking your space, and giving yourself the permission to fully experience life in this moment, to fully feel your body, to fully accept and respect all of the processes that are taking place in your system, and giving yourself permission to really enjoy life in this moment without that we feel we constantly have to compromise ourselves, because if we feel we're compromising ourselves, then we feel we deserve to have something or get something for being compromised. That's the program that it's really transforming, because soul-satisfying prosperity has nothing to do where you're suppressing yourself. It's quite the opposite. It helps you to bring your truth. It helps you and supports you to bring your soul satisfying, truly what is it that is soul satisfying for you? Because that you have a right to live. You're here for expressing and experiencing life. And soul satisfying prosperity means you're here to have these rich experiences. If you deprive yourself of your own life's experiences that your soul satisfying system sends to you, and you're constantly limiting it, that is like one of the first areas where you truly apply yourself towards a lack consciousness instead of the abundance and prosperity consciousness, or the soul satisfying prosperity consciousness, because that is geared towards how more you experience what you love, how more magnetic you become, and how more effortlessly you attract what is truly soul satisfying.
Yeah, this is really part of, the essence behind what many people have come to know as the law of attraction. And, people have been baffled in a number of different arenas until now. Because, Ataana, what you're bringing now is you're saying, wait a minute, this is a way to get there. A lot of times we see where we are today, we have a sense of really where we want to go, but there is a giant gap. The giant gap is how do I get myself, my energy, vibration at a place that I can even begin to get there. And so even, it's like getting in a car, Ataana, and turning on the engine only to find out you have no gas in your gas tank. There is no gas in the gas tank.
Yes.
You got the car, right? You got the keys. You go to turn that thing on, and you are not going anywhere. And the reason I bring that up in that way is because we have complicated the idea of goodness in the world. We've really complicated it to the point where it's so important for me, for you, and others listening that we can transform this world. We can create a better world. We just have to start here in our own home, right?
Absolutely. And you're saying something very beautiful. Now, of course, if you apply this to me, I drive electric cars, so I would have to. But the idea is very, very clear. The problem is here we're identifying ourselves with the car, and our goal is 20 feet away from the car. We don't need to drive to the goal because we're already there. And the problem is we're thinking we have to go into the vehicle, and then we have to go a tremendous amount of time and space and distance to get there. The problem really is we're already there. We're already we want to go home, and we are in the garage trying to drive home. Yeah. And the key here is to understand that when we align ourselves with a frequency. And there's a lot of teachings out there. Just think about that and visualize and have the frequency, and everything is fine. Yeah, it's kind of that simple, but also a little bit more complex because there is a frequency that we are aligning ourselves every day with. That means we have to recognize also where are we limiting ourselves. Just going into the expansion is great, but this mantra brings these limitations up to the surface so that you actually can see them. It's a clearing and purifying process that once activated, you're bringing a healthy energy flow into that stagnation, and it comes up to the surface, and you can then look at where did I attracted this mantra. Why do I still hold on to the mantra, the lack consciousness? I'm saying. Why am I still holding on to this? Who imprinted that in me? Is that from my father? Is this from my mother? Is this from the upbringing? And once you realize that's a big step already, because you're then a step closer to clear that space and then fill something better in it that gives you a better alignment. A lot of us realizing now that we can align ourselves with a certain frequency, we can internalize that, we can allow that vibration to activate our cells, and we are immediately shifting our vibration to a higher frequency.
Yeah, the higher frequency, too, is the thing that helps us to remember the truth of who we are, right? I think this is really what's so cool about the work that you do, Ataana, and we've talked about some of it in previous shows. We're going to talk about it more. We get to look at the things in life that literally are going to either fuel our dream, fuel our soul's purpose, give us that fuel. And I love that you're driving an electric car because you know what happens if you don't charge that car up.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you don't even have to worry about putting the gas in it. If you are not aware that you have got to recharge that vehicle, our energy is the same. We're out in the world 24/7. We're living life. Doesn't the mantra then create a venue for us, to activate our energy, life force, just the way we would wake up and brush our teeth? All we got to do is turn it on.
Absolutely. You start the mantra. You can start the mantra, for example, in the morning. And once you align yourself with that frequency, the next step is going to be you're going to have an experience. It's like you basically bringing a fresh river in a stagnant lake. All of a sudden, all this muddy water will be coming up on the surface. And then after a while, the lake will start clearing out, and you can look to the bottom of the lake, and you see what's in it. And how more you chant this mantra, how more of the programming that's not appropriate or that's limiting or the opposite of soul-satisfying prosperity will come up, and you looking at it will bring already the epiphany. There's a saying, the sun is the best sanitizer. When you bring it up to the surface, and they have these UV lights now in all these stores to get rid of the bacteria and viruses. When you bring these patterns up to the surface, and to the consciousness, to the light of the consciousness, you're looking at it with different eyes, and you say, you know what, this is not necessary anymore. This is not needed anymore. I don't need to limit myself anymore. I can go into my expansion. I deserve. I have. I love. I can be my full authentic self. And how more you can be that, how more you become literally real, how more magnetic you become, and like an electromagnet, you pull all these good things towards you without that you have to pull it out of your bones to get something. The illusion is that you think you have to do something to earn something. Sorry about that. The idea here is be magnetic as you can be, and then attract effortlessly.
Yeah, effortlessly is the key. Effortlessly is the key. It is exactly what we're talking about. When I'm sitting here and I'm ready now to get up and be in the world and get my key and go to the car and I hit that button to start that electric engine, I want to be confident that it's going to start. I don't want to enter the car and sit down and think, is it going to start? Is it going to start? But that's what we're doing in our lives right now. Am I going to get it? Am I going to pay the bills? Am I going to do this? Can I go take that class? It is, for what we're talking about, this mantra helps us clear the clutter of the collapse of our potential. It just clears the clutter that happens in our minds as we start to collapse our unlimited potential. And so isn't this what you're finding with the people that you're working with, that their lives are changing, they're busting out? We don't even have to know how it's all going to happen, do we?
No, a big part of the transformation in itself is learning to train the muscle of trust, right? And how more you start moving it, how stronger that muscle is going to be. And in the beginning, if we haven't really trusted much, the first time we move that muscle, it's going to hurt. So after a couple of times, it's like you're gonna move like 1 pound and then like 2, and all of a sudden you're with 25 pounds and it doesn't feel like anything. But the key here is really getting into the awareness of starting somewhere. You have to get yourself out of this toxic self-talk that's happening. The mantra will help you to stabilize your frequency, because how more you have been in that toxic self-talk, how more you expose yourself to dysfunction. And throughout the day, you're not realizing how many times you're giving yourself wrong hypnotic trance commands of putting yourself down. And when you chant the mantra, it helps you to, first of all, clear your mind and get into the rhythm of the inhale and exhale, the healthy, soul-satisfying prosperity inhale and exhale, because your prosperity starts when you come to this planet with your first inhale. When you inhale your first breath, that is prosperity, because you say, yes, I am part of this universe. I take you in universe. I receive. That's your first connection with prosperity, with soul-satisfying prosperity. And then you exhale. And we are aligned with this universe with breathing. There's nobody of us that can live longer than 10 minutes without breathing. So this is our first connection to prosperity. If we don't breathe enough, inhale and exhale properly, then our brains don't have enough oxygen even to think right. So our prosperity starts with the breath, as simple as that. And once you get into the mantra, it helps you to align the breath, it helps you to align the frequency, and even higher, it gets you into realigning yourself with truly what is soul satisfying, even if you have lived in this world that was detached from nature. And it helps you to realize and recognize truly what is soul satisfying, because a lot of us forgot what is soul satisfying to the artificial lives that we are living. And how more you get into this alignment with the mantra, how more that alignment with the mantra gets you into your soul satisfying alignment, and it will then translate and introduce more of your natural soul satisfying prosperity moments. And you're going to remember how that feels like when you have this one moment where you stop and you just see the leaves moving in the wind, and you're realizing that all is one. You're realizing that all is connected to source, including ourselves. These moments you're going to have more and more, and you're going to see beyond the veil into that expansion. How more that's happening, how more your prosperity, your soul-satisfying prosperity will be realized.
Wow. Ataana, this has been an amazing show. Wow. Thank you so much. My gosh, we're just like warming up. How can people get a copy of the mantra for themselves? What is the best way for folks to go do that? And for those of you out there, we're going to make sure we post this on our social media and everywhere else so you guys know how to get a copy. All right, everybody, AtaanaMethod.com, thedrpatshow.com, transformationtalkradio.com. We'll see you next time.
Lights go out and I can't be saved. Tides that I tried to swim against brought me down upon my knees. Oh, I beg and please, singing, come out of things unsaid. Shoot an apple off my head and a trouble that can be.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.